Good morning, everyone. Now, before we start, let me paint a picture. Imagine scrolling through your feed and seeing a stunning photo of Katy Perry at the Met Gala. The lighting's perfect, the dress flawless, and the moment is unforgettable. But millions of people did exactly that in 2024 and 2025. The thing is, these images weren't real. They were completely AI generated. While people were praising her best look yet, Katy Perry was actually on a tour in another country. So if these images were convincing enough to fool fans, fashion pages, and even news accounts, what else can happen? See, this isn't an isolated moment. If we look back to earlier in 2023, if we can remember, there was a viral image of Pope Francis in a white puffer jacket. Now, this image went viral, reaching millions overnight, circulated by users who believed it was real. See, both of these examples both point to one thing. We now live in a world where seeing is no longer believing. That's why today I'm Bio, and I'll be sharing on why we designers, as the shapers of visuals, have a moral obligation to correct visual misinformation. Because if the visuals that were once our most trusted source of evidence can now be indistinguishable from fiction, then the people who create and shape that visual are held responsible. We, as designers, the creators of such visuals, have a moral duty to combat visual misinformation. Now, because as found by neuroscientists at MIT, the human brain processes images in as little as 13 milliseconds. That's incredibly fast. We form impressions, emotions, and assumptions nigh instantly. Once an image enters the mind, it's difficult to erase. It leaves a mark that lasts forever. This is why misinformation through visuals spreads significantly faster than text-based misinformation, because it bypasses the brain's skepticism. A manipulated image can create belief in 1 second, where a correction may never catch up. If designers release visuals without care, without trust, the public receives an impression without the truth. And this exact speed of influence is what leads directly into a second issue, one that we face every day online. As the World Economic Forum's 2025 Global Risks Report found, visual misinformation spreads faster than text-based, and because of that, it triggers a stronger emotional response, an emotional reaction. The Katy Perry and Pope puffer jacket incident are just prime examples of that exact phenomenon. Spreading not because they were accurate, but because they were visually compelling. And we've seen this happen beyond celebrities or viral memes. In humanitarian crises, doctored photos are used to inflame conflict, or during elections, misleading charts and infographics distort public understanding. Even in natural disasters, we're not safe. Recycled or AI-edited images spread faster than any official updates, meaning that people might donate to false charities or panic over events that never happened. Visual narratives can spark outrage, they can spark fear and political division. That's why the truth has a hard time intervening. Yet, some still believe that visual misinformation is simply a technological issue, an issue unaffected by the designers. And while this isn't entirely wrong, it's not the truth either. The reality is that research says otherwise. Design shapes narratives, whether intentionally or not. A 2023 study in the Journal of Computer in Human Behavior found that design choices such as, say, color or scale, layout, cropping, and hierarchy can significantly impact how a truth is perceived and interpreted, even without malicious intent. A 2024 report in the Digital News emphasizes that audiences increasingly rely on visual cues for information. So thumbnails or infographics, we pan to that for credibility immediately without even checking any text or sources. I mean, think of how many times you've seen labels on packaging and just immediately assume, yeah, that's good. Even honest design decisions can influence how we think and perceive the truth. And designing without considering how those visuals affect understanding is what allows misinformation to thrive. But then the opposing argument comes up that, hey, designers are just following client orders. And some argue that designers aren't responsible for this issue because they're simply executing what the client requests. It's not their responsibility to vet it. But the argument ignores a fundamental ethical principle that following instructions doesn't remove you from being an accomplice. If a designer is asked to produce a misleading infographic or an altered image, then participating without question makes them an accomplice to misinformation. The intent does not erase the impact. And today, designers' impact is often global, reaching even millions with just a single post. It's this impact that matters now more than ever because tools of misinformation are advancing faster than public awareness is rising. AI can generate hyper-realistic deepfakes overnight, and these visuals can influence real-life outcomes. And when public loses perception on reality, then what differentiates lies and truth? This is why we as designers have the moral responsibility to provide accuracy, to choose ethical design, because it's not just professional, it's a public duty. When we choose truth, we help protect the trust that people have in visuals. As a great man once said, with great power comes great responsibility. That's all from me today. Thank you.